Well, of course, staying in the rental market lane, we're looking at a new Realtor.com report that came out today revealing nationwide rents are down year over year. But renters beware, prices are up as much as 6% in certain locations. To break down where the deals and discrepancies are, we have Danielle Hale, Realtor.com chief economist. Thank you for joining us this morning. So for a lot of people wondering in that rent versus buy debate, we've seen nationwide some of these prices ticking down, but some of these sticklers here, especially if you look at locations like Boston highlighted and New York as well. Why are we still seeing those sticking?
Yeah, so the nationwide trend is toward rent softening, and we've seen that fairly consistently over the last 8 months. Rents have declined on a year-over-year basis. We're not talking about huge declines nationwide. In December, the figure was down just 0.4%. And the reason for that is that it depends on where renters are. They're going to see slightly different trends on the ground. So if you're in major cities on the Northeast, for example, you highlighted New York and Boston, rents are still going up in those areas on a 6% year-over-year basis. But in parts of the South and in the West, we're seeing rents decline. So depending on where a renter is, they're going to see slightly different market trends. Nationwide, we're looking at rough stability, which is a nice change from the double-digit gains that we had seen in rents in 2022. So it's giving renters' pocketbooks and incomes a chance to catch up.
Danielle, what kind of knock-on effect is that likely to have on the housing market? You know, so much of the discussion has been for the mobility or the lack of mobility, with Americans kind of stuck with where they were because they couldn't move to a new rental property. Rents were too high. They couldn't necessarily move to a new home because they couldn't buy.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to see this free up options for people. And we talked about this in our housing forecast, that even though we expect to see inventory remain relatively low, prices could soften because renters will have more options. And you talked about this in the prior segment, that we see the number of multifamily rental units that are under construction right now very close to a record high. So there's a lot of supply in the pipeline. So we expect to see this softening trend continue. And that's going to give renters' incomes a chance to catch up. But again, it really depends on where you are. We've seen more construction in the South. We've also seen a little bit more in the Midwest, but demand has held up better in the Midwest. So we see these different price trends. And again, it really matters where you are. And so renters want to pay attention to the local trends. I think it's also worth noting that we're tracking asking rents of listings that are listed for rent on Realtor.com. So these are landlords who don't have someone in their home that are trying to get the home rented, or big communities that are trying to get the home rented. But for renters who are staying in place, they might be seeing very different trends. And we know that market rents up until the last year have tended to outpace those rents changes for renters that are staying in one place. So right now, people who have stayed in one place might actually see their rents increase a little bit more than what we're seeing in other areas. So it might pay to look around if you haven't in a while.
And Danielle, just very quickly, we have about 30 seconds here. The types of units that people can get the best deal on, whether it's studio, 0 to 2 bedroom, where are the best deals being found there in terms of the types of units?
Yeah, so it really depends on the market. In some areas, you're seeing studios do better. In other areas, 2 bedrooms do better. But on the whole, we are seeing breaks generally across the board. So I think whatever size unit you're looking for, you are likely to find softening rents at the nationwide level. And then again, the trends on the ground are going to differ depending on where you are.
Well, certainly, at least some deals to be had, but obviously obviously making sure that everyone does their homework there as they're looking for those rents. Danielle Hale, Realtor.com chief economist. Thank you so much.